I am so excited today to have not one, but two of the guys that I love and respect. I've got to follow their stuff and meet them a little here and there. Justin and Dave, they're also called the Church Media Guys. Yeah, get the point in. How you guys
Yeah,
doing?
Dave's the pointer. I'm the
Yeah, I'm the one with the personality. Justin is like, controlled. I don't know, fury or something.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Controlled Fury. That sounds like a high school name.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they called me in football.
Controlled
Yeah, in basketball they called me the bus driver. Do you know why?
No.
Because I traveled a lot.
That's awesome.
I guess my nickname would have been the lone skater. The guy that during all the couple skate, I was the guy on the rail going, looking like I was.
You were too, Kevin. You were too cool for school. I totally believe that.
Completely.
No, here's the thing: once they figured out that I couldn't skate if I wasn't standing on something, I was never picked.
Well, what's going on? It's glad to be here. We're thankful you asked us to be here, and I'm glad we got to work this out to where we could all be here at the same time.
Yes. It is quite a scheduling thing if people don't know that, but we're different time zones and different locations. But so how did you guys meet and connect and then launch, which I think was originally Church Training Academy or still is, and then Church Media Guys? How did that all start?
Well, I'm gonna take a long story and throw it like as fast as I can. In 1999, I went over to Romania, and that country was still trying to get put together infrastructure-wise. And I was working with a missionary team over there, and we were shooting a documentary and stuff. And when we were like trying to communicate, with the States, we had to pay for the dial-up access. We had to pay for the minutes. We had to pay for the bytes that were transferred. We had to pay for using the phone line. We had to pay for modem rental. I mean, it was ridiculous, and everything was really slow in that whole. The infrastructure just wasn't working. But we were the support line for this missionary there, who was a missionary in her own town working with orphans and gypsy kids. And her church didn't have the theological depth that she needed. So when I got back, I said, there's got to be something that we can do to put something together so that at worst they can get audio podcasts or do something like that. Podcast really wasn't a thing back then, but that's where an idea for serving the church came. We moved forward to 2011, and I got this idea. Look, I can put together a training site. I can put together something to teach churches how to do all this. And a lot of churches still weren't doing it. Life got in the way. Finally, in 2016, I checked in with the Lord. I said, look, I'm open. I've got these ideas and things I want to do, but if you want me, if you still trust me with the idea to train and equip churches how to leverage media and how to amplify the gospel and change lives, if you trust me with that, then I'll do it. But I don't want to do it because it's a great business model. I don't want to do it because I can just take care of my family as well. But this has to be led by you. And so God said, yeah, do it. So I started as a solopreneur, and I got about a year or so into it. And it's hard not having a team and trying to put food on the table as a producer, as a video creator. I do a lot of commercial work with commercial clients and all that sort of stuff. And so all that stuff was getting in the way. And at some point I said, I need to put together a mastermind group or something. And I was looking, I was really good. I've done thousands of hours of live streaming and video and all that sort of stuff in the tech and entertainment industry. We used to have a show called Geek Beat TV with Luria Petrucci. At that time, she was going by Callie Lewis. We had a large audience, and we were, the official live streaming partner for the NAB. And we, live streamed, for a week, at CES. We were doing all sorts of stuff like this. Had all this. I was known in that industry, but I wasn't known in the church space. And so I said, I really need to start connecting and getting to know people and stuff. And I got to have a mastermind. I need support. So someone pointed me towards Kenny Jang, and he and I connected. He said, there's this guy I know that you guys are kind of walking down the same street, but you're on opposite sides of the street. And it turns out that y'all can probably complement each other. So let me connect you. So he connected us, and Justin and I talked. and about just putting together a mastermind group. And then Justin said, "Hey, I want you to think about something. I'm focused on the communications and church marketing side of things, and you're focused on the live streaming and the podcasting and the video production and photography and the creative side of all that. We're walking the same path and looking at each other from the opposite sides of the street. What if we combined our resources and made this a partnership?" And I said, "Okay, I'll pray about it." And he said that he would pray about it. And we talked to our wives, and they were like, "Yes, you guys need help." And
That's great.
we're tired of hearing about all this crap. Y'all need someone else to talk to. So,
Take it outside.
we came back together after a long weekend and said, "Okay, if we're going to do this, let's do it." Justin said, "Okay, let's go." And so we've been kind of figuring it out from that point forward. And one of the things that we like and that we figured out was there's other people in our space, and they're serving different niches, different areas. Some of them complementary to each other. Some of them are our friends, and they kind of run parallel with each other, and they have like friendly competition between each other and stuff. But what we're noticing is that they may have a team in the background that is working with them and stuff, but their team is not in the foreground. And so Justin and I have this, so far, as best we can tell, the unique aspect of we are the church media guys. And so it's he and I together. We can do things separately if we need to. If Justin couldn't have been here for the interview, you and I could have done it, and it would have been just fine. But we have this dynamic that we don't see a lot. We see it some in the quote unquote secular space, the YouTube space, all that sort of thing, but not to this degree in the church media space and marketing space. So here we are.
And let me ask a question too. I mean, I know you guys live stream a lot, and you guys have just amazing value, which I think, even though I know you direct it to churches, it's like, lighting and Justin, I was watching the video you did the other day about what was it, the parrot? No, the live streaming service.
Yeah, live pigeon.
Yeah, different bird.
Pigeon. It was a bird, and it had something to do with a bird. But fast pitch. But I think anybody could use this. But you guys do focus on that. What is, you made the comment about just you're kind of figuring it out. You were figuring it out and stuff like that. What do you think is like the one thing though that holds churches back from just really jumping on YouTube and using social media?
Fear.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's fear. And I think it's also the, Justin and I have noticed that there's this, this kind of disconnect between what a church does and what everyone else does. And something he and I hammer is that when okay, let's all stipulate this is a ministry and we're here to reach souls. Great. We've said it. It's done. We're going to set that aside now. The reality is that what a church does on a weekly basis is basically what our friends, Scott and Jeremy, have done with like video marketing world. They do a conference basically every single week. They do a live event, and that live event consists of breakout sessions and workshops. It consists of a small concert, a keynote address, maybe a little bit more of the concert, and then a meet and greet time. And that happens every single week. So when you look at it objectively, that is what they're doing. And so we take it from that approach that you're creating this event, and there's the stuff you need to do for the people in the event that are physically there. But if you're going to be live streaming or broadcasting it, there's a whole slew of stuff you need to do for the people that are sitting there looking at it on their phone. And a lot of churches don't necessarily get that. They think that they're a church. They think they're a ministry, which they are, but that it's different. It's different. And we say, look, you're a media organization. You're a media company, whether you realize it or not. So you either maximize this stuff and use it to your advantage, or you fall by the wayside. And they have to shift their mind into what it is that they really are, and they're also a ministry.
Yeah. And Justin, you said fear too. Is it like what Dave is saying? Is it almost the fear of we don't know what to do, it'll mess up? or people won't accept it, or we don't know the gear, or is it all of those things?
Yeah, it's all of those things. I mean, fear is one word that can encompass multiple emotions. It becomes down to a fear of, I'm afraid I don't know how to do this. I'm afraid I don't have the time. I'm afraid this is going to take away from other things we're already doing. I'm afraid it's not going to work. I'm afraid it's going to be a waste of money. I'm afraid I don't have the resources. I'm afraid people are not going to like it. I'm afraid that it's going to put me in a bad image. I'm afraid I don't know how to do it. I'm afraid I don't have the equipment. I'm afraid I don't have the money to buy the equipment. I'm afraid I don't know how to use it. I'm afraid I won't be able to keep up with it. All this stuff and things are things that we hear in our own minds that encompass a lot of things. And, you know, it becomes kind of the explanation of why we are in the churches. I say we because me and Dave are both actively involved in our own churches. It becomes why we and other churches have to ask these questions at all, is because we've been doing the same thing over and over again, trying to reinvent ourselves just a little bit every week, every year, but not stepping too far out of the bounds of
Right.
what we would normally call church. And because of that fear, it compounds over time, and we're stuck here with the same 70 people in church that were here 5 years ago. We're not reaching out. The community isn't aware of us, and we come across a whole nother level of fear that my first boss, youth pastor, said. Something that kept him up at night as a pastor is, if the church closed its doors tomorrow, would anyone notice?
Right.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing to be afraid. And so when you are exploring new avenues to promote your message, the gospel, and your community, you know, getting the community aware, it's a scary thing, because you're taking time away from what you know worked in the past. Even though it doesn't work anymore, there's still some comfort in that. And so, you know, there is a disconnect, and there is all this that Dave talked about. But I personally would sum it up as just, it's fear. It's scary. It's the reason why Kevin, Dave, you, me, all of us, you know, why we have to constantly reboot ourselves almost daily being entrepreneurs, because there is a fear of, man, today I might not make any money. This week I might not make any money. This month I might not make any money. There is no cushion. There is no stability. It's all on our shoulders. It's very scary. And that's just financials. The pastors have to worry about souls.
Yeah.
You know, it's a scary thing.
So let me ask this: what would be the skills? Because I think my gut is people get caught up in the gear. It's like, well, if I've got the right gear, I'll be more creative. It's like, it's not gonna make me any more creative. If I'm ready to start my YouTube channel, but I all I've got is but what skills, what are the things that you think, especially churches now, and again, I think if you're watching this and you're not with a church, you need to get to a church. But if you're not, there's my statement. But
you're gonna say a huge drop off there. Not
tell my pastor I did invite people on YouTube. But what would be the skills? What would be the things that just the few things that maybe some people could start learning right now and practicing so they could put into motion?
I'll Dave, let me go first. We talk about skills as far as, like, you know, how to engage people and talk and stuff like that. There are things to learn, right? We did a whole interview with Dave's pastor because of the COVID restrictions and staying at home. One thing that pastors have to work a lot on is you can't just talk to an audience. You've got to talk to a camera. And that's a skill that you have to learn. But when it comes to live streaming technology, the only skill I maintain, and I think Dave would agree to me, but he probably has something else to add to it. The only skill you need is learning. You just have to know how to learn things. You have to be open to learning things. We have to kind of become children again and be receptive to, I don't know, this YouTube thing, but it's not over. It's not over for me. We have a gentleman in our membership program that's in his 70s, and he learned how to stream. Dave, did he learn in his 70s or did he learn in his late 60s? I don't know.
He is in his late 60s and just
Yeah, he is doing an amazing job and bringing in more people through the stream than ever came through the doors of his church. I mean, it's amazing stuff. And Tommy loves to learn. I think that's the key. That's the only skill you need. You can learn how to learn. You can learn how to research and how to Google and, you know, what people to listen to, church media guys and Kevin. But you got to kind of sit there and say, I'm going to learn how to do this, and you have to be okay to fail. A quote I read earlier, and then I'll let Dave speak. Dave, get ready. I'm about to let you off the leash. Failure is the fog that we have to pass through to be successful.
Wow.
And so you have to be ready to spend some time in the fog and say, yeah, man, that messed up. That was bad. When I was a music intern, we had some pretty terrible worship nights where it was like, that was embarrassing. I want to quit and just let me go sit at a desk and be a secretary for the rest of my life. Like, I did not feel like doing it. Was so bad. It was embarrassing. And then the Monday morning, I had to meet with my boss, the pastor, and just, okay, what went wrong? Okay, well, this went wrong, and how are we going to fix it? And you learn how to avoid those mistakes in the future. So you kind of have to go through the playbook and be okay with learning. That's how you become a professional ball player. You watch yourself mess up, you watch yourself fail. And yeah, guess what? Even the MLB, NFL, NHL, NBA, those guys are still breaking ankles, slipping, falling, making missed throws, airmailing. They still do that stuff too. You ever want to feel as good about yourself? Go watch the Olympic ping pong players. They make the same mistakes you do, right? They just do it. They're just able to correct themselves faster. And so you have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
So the number one skill you need is just be willing and able to learn, and then move past your failures, learning from them. You have to be okay to fail. And the faster you own it, the faster you'll grow and get more skillful.
And before you jump in, let me throw this out, because I think that is so powerful, because we tend to think, I think, as humans that, and especially as Christians and believers, that, nobody has the struggles I do. But if you apply that then to just tech and video, it's like, well, nobody's ever had this problem before.
You're all alone.
Yeah. I mean, what people don't see is that
right the first time.
Yeah. It's like, my camera didn't boot up and this didn't happen. And oh no, I was live and I didn't know I was live, which I can't say how many times that's happened. And yet we live and you learn from that. So that was powerful. So Dave, in just a few minutes, what would you add to that?
That just accept failure. I mean, that's a big part of it. And that's part of the fear that Justin talked about is, what if we fail? What if we misspend our money? What if we do something like that? Look, it's going to happen, period. I mean, that's why we tell people, and like 90% of like the gear we recommend, we want them to buy it through Amazon. Yes, we're Amazon affiliates, and yes, it helps, the church media guys and stuff. But more importantly, they have a great refund thing. So, if I'm not sitting at your church, so if we're talking about a soundboard that would work for you, and I say, you should try this one work, and then you get it, and like, what, this one isn't working. Guess what? You do a refund on Amazon and then drop it off at the UPS store, and then either get a credit or get the money back, or replace it with the one that you need. It's kind of simple. So if you can take that sort of thing out of the way, get that fear of I'm going to fail at this at some point. Mm-hmm. And you have to read that culture in your church. Our pastor came in and said, look, here's the deal. We're going to do some things that are going to take this church from the stagnation that they've been in at a whole bunch of different levels, and we're going to grow to the next level and be poised for the next 50 years of growth. And we have to be willing to fail. So we're going to try things, and some of them are going to work and it's going to be magnificent. Some of them are going to fail, and we're going to pivot, and we're going to keep going, but we're not going to stop. And so that's the mentality. If you can get that mentality going through your church culture as a staff, as executive staff, as the volunteers, and as the people sitting in the pews, and everybody is on board to that, and that's just leadership from the pulpit down, then that's great. The next thing beyond that, the skill is the skill to start. That is the biggest thing. We have people that, like you said, that talk about, what camera's for this, what camera for that. And we say, look, reach into your back pocket. Do you feel that lump that you sit on? Not your butt, the phone. Grab your phone, pull that thing out, and treat it like it's a real camera. Pretend that is not a $1,000 iPhone, but a $1,000 video camera, and start treating it like, oh, and here's how you can do it. Here's a tripod that we like. Here's a clip that we like that you can put on there. That clip has some mounting points, so you can put a light, and you can put a shotgun mic or something like that. Look, you're ready to do video announcements. I mean, that's the thing. Just start. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you're expecting, and we say this in the intro of our video, I recorded that on purpose, that perfection is never going to happen. You just have to start. So if you're waiting for perfection, it's an exercise of futility, and you're a moron because you're waiting for something that is unattainable.
Yeah. It's funny because I've never, even in the years I worked in television, never ever had a client and even since I've been on my own, say, well, now what kind of gear do you have?
Right.
It's usually like, how fast can I get it and how much is it going to cost? It usually starts with the cost, then it starts with everything else.
They care about what's in here.
Absolutely.
They care about
Absolutely. Yeah. There was even a chief engineer I worked at, but since we don't follow each other on Facebook, I can share the story. But
oh yeah, let's talk about it.
He was like, and this was when DSLRs, were starting to kind of become a thing, but we had the big TV cameras, and he was like, well, you don't want to show up with like the little bitty camera, do you? Because they might not want to advertise with us. Like, really? So do you like go over the color wires you're using just in case, and we got a deal on the white wires, but we don't want to use the blue ones and the yellow. It's like, they don't, I won't say his name. I won't say his name, but that is great. So as we wrap up here, I want to ask you something fun. So what is your absolute favorite social media platform and why? Justin.
Oh man. 2 weeks ago, before the quarantine, I would have said Twitter, because I have ADD and it's just easy just to read quick things and not have to sit there through someone who obviously poured 2 hours of copy over this Facebook post. But Instagram, I'd missed the boat on that. I'm not a pretty thin young woman, so the Instagram boat's not for me. But I like Twitter because it's quick, it's fast, it's micro blogging. That's how I enjoy using it. I have a thought, I share it, I encourage others, I make them think. But since the quarantine, actually TikTok is my favorite.
Really?
It's like, my dad is trying to get better at his brisket game, and he wants to make one this weekend for Father's Day. And he's like, I'm on YouTube, and I click on this guy to see how he trims a brisket, and he spends 5 minutes talking about, what kind of knife he uses, and he's saying all this stuff, and I just want to learn how to trim it. Why does it take him 10 minutes to tell me? And I'm like, let me introduce you to TikTok, where you got 60 seconds to make your point. And I'm using it kind of like YouTube. It's like, what did they say about this pet brush? And by golly, someone's made a review of it on TikTok, and you've got the entertainment there. You've got some political stuff. You've got some really good Christian content creators, really good video creators as well. And it's just fast. It's quick. And I don't have to sit down and commit to a long video or read. I can just pop in for a few minutes as I need. It's really enjoyable. I'm not creating anything, but I'm really enjoying consuming it.
Dave, what about you?
For me, it's YouTube. And it's because of the possibilities are basically endless. You as a creator, you can start your own television network on there. Mm-hmm. You can start doing whatever. You can prove the concept of your creativity by building an audience on there. And also, it is a vast resource. I went to college for radio and television production back in 1991. And we did a news magazine show, a weekly roundup of the local news and stuff. We did a Christian music video show, and I did some live events and did stuff like that. So I got these basic skills down, but then I got married, started working for Microsoft, went and worked for Dell and all this, and then said, you know what, I got to get back into video. But I'd been out of that game for a while. And so I started teaching myself how to do everything. I bought books from Barnes & Noble about how to use Photoshop, and I did all this sort of stuff. And then along comes YouTube and the vast library of knowledge that is there. I can find, if I need to learn a skill, that I need to teach you, I'm going to go to YouTube and I'm going to find it. I'm going to practice it. I'm going to put my spin on it and stuff. And then I'll make a video and teach you how to do it. And then my audience thinks I'm brilliant. And all I'm doing is standing on the shoulders of other people that have figured things out. And I'm helping you figure things out so you can stand on my shoulders and help your team figure things out and stuff. It's great. And it's, it's messy, but it's great.
That is phenomenal. And so where can everybody find you guys? And I'll put links to this down in the description.
For our YouTube channel is where we're putting stuff up each week, including our live show. So you can go to churchtrainingacademy.com/YouTube. And when you get there, hit the subscribe and the notify button so that you don't miss anything. We're also on Facebook individually. I'm Dave Curley. He's Justin Nava. And then you can join our Church Media Hacks group. If you're in the ministry at some capacity, and you're, whether it's, if you're the church secretary who does the newsletter, or if you're a sound guy volunteer, or if you take pictures, whatever, we've got churchmediahacks.com where they can go and join a private group on Facebook of all of us coming together and just sharing our knowledge and all that. And then they can always go go to churchtrainingacademy.com/join and become an insider and join our training and coaching program.
Excellent. Links to all that down in there, and I may just get on TikTok for you, Justin. I don't know.
Do it. Let's be TikTok friends, even though I haven't done any videos. Yeah, you're gonna get hooked. I'm warning you.
Yeah,
I'll look for your dad's brisket videos. How about that?
I got just the guy to send to you.
Hey, listen, we've been talking to Dave and Justin. They're the church media guys. Fantastic guys. I love what you guys are doing. Keep it up, and thanks for being here.
Thanks,
brother.
Kevin.
Put the needle on the record.